Welcome to Viewpoints. I'm Greg Brunel, and today I have the privilege of speaking with Nick Campasano, who is the Deputy Chief of the Manchester, New Hampshire Fire Department. Nick is just completing his master's study. He's at the Naval Postgraduate School, and we're going to speak about Nick's thesis topic this morning. Welcome, Nick.
Good morning.
Could you tell us a bit about your thesis, starting with the title?
The title of my thesis is Community Preparedness, Creating a Model for Change.
Okay, and why did you choose that topic?
The topic actually came to me during my first program course here, Introduction to Homeland Security, and we were required to create a strategy memo for a Homeland Security issue. I chose community preparedness at the time, and through my research and writing the memo, discovered that there is a very wide gap between what our nation's goals are for a prepared population and what the reality is in the level of preparedness of our citizens.
Were you surprised during your research as to what you found both in the existing literature and what your conclusions were?
Actually, I was. Initially, in setting out with my thesis, my goal was to take the existing behavior change model that Citizen Corps has put forth as a model to create messaging for preparedness and look at the underlying theoretical concepts and compare that to other behavior change models to see where it fell as far as effectiveness. But during my research, what I had found is that most individual behavior change models do not include social aspects. So while they are very good at assisting an individual in stopping smoking, cessation of some type of behavior that an individual would like to change, they didn't take into account the effects that the community have on an individual's behavior, families, friends. So through my research, what I had discovered is that there's a very large gap, and that influence on an individual's behavior, I believe, needs to be addressed if we're going to affect community preparedness.
Did you find a lot of research that had been conducted drawing the models that you've used in your thesis previously to emergency preparedness and disaster preparedness for families and individuals in the United States? Or was your research original in so much that it drew those two areas together?
I found there's very little literature on behavior change models as it relates to community preparedness. Most of the literature that exists on behavior change models primarily have to do with the health field, increasing breast cancer prevention, increasing other types of healthy lifestyles. So that the field of behavior change as it relates to community preparedness is very limited, and I believe that that affords future individuals a very wide area for research.
Is your experience as an executive fire officer in a large American city fire department, how important is preparedness at the community, individual, and family level? What has your experience shown you?
I think it's extremely important, and I believe our strategies are correct in saying that if we can get our civilian population prepared and self-sufficient for 48 to 72 hours, that will dramatically reduce the burden on emergency responders. If we can focus our efforts on those individuals that are in life and death situations versus having to deal with individuals that are in need of food and water or shelter, that will dramatically increase our effectiveness as a force multiplier.
What sort of obstacles exist in our communities and in our individuals besides what you found in your research where you focused your thesis? What other areas of research need to be concluded, and what other obstacles do we need to address as emergency preparedness officials?
I think primarily, and it was one of the things I found through my research, is that most of the focus of preparedness is at the individual level. And what we really avoid and don't look at is the community level. And you may have individuals who want to prepare, but they are so concerned about the economic situation that they're in or the high level of crime. They're worried about their child getting to the bus safely. Mm-hmm. So they really can't focus on preparedness. So I think we have to look at the entire situation, and the challenge is going to be looking at each community individually. It has to be a custom program to a community to identify the barriers that exist at the community level in order to be able to address behavior change at the individual level.
For you in your community, and as your thesis is published and as you talk about this to other professionals in the industry, What do you see as the next steps to promulgating the concepts and ideas you've concluded with?
Ultimately, what I would like to see is future research, studies, national studies, surveys, to see if the suggested behavior change model that I put forth has validity. I think as an emergency preparedness official, what I would ultimately like to see are tools that I can survey my community and the population to see the individual stage of change that they are at, as well as the community, and then almost have a menu of interventions that I can choose from to be able to best match my preparedness message to the needs of the community.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.